Today we are going over the properties of operations. You should have glued this piece of paper into your spiral. If you want to, you can shade the properties that go together. We're really going to focus in on three. We have the commutative property. It's for addition and multiplication. We have the associative property for addition and multiplication, and then the distributive property we're also going to talk about. The other three are still important, we just don't focus on them as much. The identity property of addition, it just means whenever you add 0 to a number, it doesn't change its value. So a number keeps its identity when you add 0. The identity property of multiplication, whenever I multiply by 1, I keep my identity. So 7 times 1 is still 7. And then the inverse property of addition, whenever you add a number and its opposite, it equals 0. So -3 plus 3 equals 0. So those ones are a little, they're just their own special ones. The ones we're going to focus on are the top 5 though. So the commutative property of addition and multiplication. Okay, whenever you see commutative, I want you to think of changing the order. Okay, so whenever you're adding or multiplying, you can change the order of the numbers and you will get the same sum or product. Alright, so we have 3 plus 4. That's the same thing as 4 plus 3. 3 plus 4 gives you 7. 4 plus 3 gives you 7. Same exact thing. So I can change the order of the numbers when I'm adding and I get the same answer. Whenever we're multiplying, 2 times 4 and 4 times 2. If I change the order, 2 times 4 is 8, 4 times 2 is 8. Same answer. Okay, this does not work with subtracting or dividing. Okay, so if I were to do 5 minus 2 and 2 minus 5, okay, this one's 3 and this one's -3. They are not equal. Doesn't work. If I did 10 divided by 2 and 2 divided by 10, 10 divided by 2 is 5. 2 divided by 10 is 1/5. Not the same. It doesn't work. So this is only for adding and multiplying. Again, commutative is changing the order. Okay, the associative property of addition. Whenever you see associative, you're thinking of grouping. Change the grouping. Or change the groups. Alright, whenever you're adding or multiplying more than 2 numbers, the grouping of the numbers does not change the sum or product. Alright, so in this first one, 3 plus 4 plus 5. 3 and 4 are grouped together, so we should do those first because they're in parentheses. So that equals 7, and 7 plus 5 gives you 12. Now what if instead I group together 4 and 5? Will I get the same answer? 4 plus 5 is 9, and 9 plus 3 is 12. Same answer. Okay, so changing the grouping where the parentheses go, you can change that as long as it's all adding, plus and plus. Okay, or it's all multiplying. Alright, 2 times 4 is 8, and 8 times 3 is 24. On the other side, if I wanted to do 2 times and then 4 times 3 in parentheses, I can do that. 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 times 2 is 24. I get the same answer. Okay, so I can change where my parentheses go as long as I have multiplication all the way across. Adding all the way across or multiplying all the way across. Again, this will not work for subtraction or division. Only for adding and multiplying. Alright, the last one is the distributive property. This is where we have multiplying on the outside and then adding and subtracting within the parentheses. Okay, so multiplying a number by a sum or difference is the same as multiplying by each number in the sum or difference and then adding or subtracting. So that's a lot of words. What it means is if I were to follow the order of operations, I get the same answer as if I were to distribute. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to follow the order of operations first. 2 plus 4 is 6. And then we know this means to multiply. 6 times 6 is 36. Now the distributive property says I can take this 6 and multiply it times 2 and multiply it times 4 and then add those two things together because there's adding in the middle. So we would do 6 times 2 plus 6 times 4, and then see if we get the same answer. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 6 times 4 is 24, and 24 plus 12 is 36. Same answer. Okay, we can do the same thing when we are have subtraction within the parentheses. 5 minus 3 is 2, and 2 times 8 is 16. If we were to distribute this, we would say 8 times 5, minus, because there's a minus sign in the middle, 8 times 3. We distribute that 8 to both of the people in the parentheses. 8 times 5 is 40, minus 8 times 3 is 24, and 40 minus 24 is 16. Alright, so the distributive property is where you distribute or you send the outside number to both of the numbers inside the parentheses. And there might even be more than 2 numbers inside the parentheses. And that's okay, you distribute the outside number to everyone in the parentheses and you'll get the same answer.